So when I need to get people to listen to me, what I normally do, I start off with hallo, hallo, hallo. Wij komen u groeten, zijn blij u te ontmoeten. Hallo, hallo, hallo. And I think that would get them. Anyways, I'm not here to sing. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the measurements we did around IPv6 launch day. We also did similar measurements a year ago in World IPv6 Day, which was just for one day. And for IPv6 launch day, the idea was that people would turn on their IPv6 networks and leave them on. So the work was done by the four of us mentioned here, myself, and I'm presenting. I was basically working in the background, collecting the data and putting it in the database and all that. Emil, René did a lot of the graphing and the analysis around it. And then we have Robert, who's our manager, who led us to this effort. And this does work, good. So the measurements we did is like we had an IPv6 eye chart and a 624 eye chart. And so the idea was that people could, in advance, go to this from their laptops or from their computers, go to this tool and see if they could actually reach IPv6 networks. So if some service providers or some content providers would all of a sudden switch off IPv4, they could determine beforehand whether they could or could not reach those networks. But that's not part of this talk. It was something that people could do, and the tool is still available if people want to use that. What we did a lot of active measurements, and we had about 53 vantage points, so 53 devices or systems from which we could send out trace routes and all those kind of things. And we had about 60 participants, so we took a set out of the participants that were listed on the ISOC pages for World IPv6 launch day. We measured for about 1 month, so a couple of weeks before the event and a couple of weeks after the event. And what we were looking for was, we were looking whether those sites that claimed that they would go online with V6, whether they published A records or quad A records in DNS. We did ping 6 and traceroute 6 and also ping and traceroute, because we also compared it to IPv4, what was happening. And we did HTTP requests of IPv4 and IPv6. In total we had some 18 million measurements. And then another topic I have a little bit later in the talk is that we also did some connectivity measurements with some Atlas probes that gave us interesting results. If you look at the vantage points that we used, you can see them here. We had a lot of the RIPE NCC TTM boxes. We also were allowed to use some CAIDA ARC boxes. You can see from the colors, the greens are the ones from CAIDA and the orange ones are ours. And then there are 1 or 2 other devices that we found where we could do measurements from. So you can see it's very well focused on the RIPE NCC region, because that's where we have the most presence. But we are basically represented around the world with a number of boxes. This slide shows you hold on a sec. So here we have these are the targets. So these are websites that claimed and that we measured that they would go online on IPv6 on June the 6th or earlier. And what you can see, the blue lines, the light blue lines, are the ones where we see 0 quad A records. So that basically means that they could not be reachable, at least not for a normal user. When it turns like dark blue, it's like between 0 and 10%, 10 to 20%. Dark green is like 80% or so. And then the lightest green color, or maybe it's more yellowish even, those are the ones that are 100% visible from all our vantage points where we see DNS quad A records. And so if you look at the 6th of June, 0100, that's the red line over there, and you can see that some websites, like the ones over here, they were available all the time. Google actually was not available all the time, but they nicely turned it on the 6th of June. Several others did, but quite a few over here and down here were there all the time. You can also see that some of them that announced that they would go online on V6 were not visible at all with the DNS Quad A records. So then it's kind of difficult for end users to actually look at them. This is another chart that we have. I actually do have, and if we have time at the end, we can look at that. This is a chart where this line again are the targets, and underneath here, those are our vantage points. So these are our points from which we send the HTTP GET requests. The dark blue again means there was no DNS record. The red means that there was a problem in getting a specific, getting that web page or that web data. The green means everything is fine, it's reachable, and we get the data over HTTP. There's an occasional orange dot here where we had an incidental problem. We could get a Quad A record, but we could not get the data. And no, we could get the Quad A record, but we could not reach the IP address or resolve the IP address. And a white spot, which you see here, for example, is where we have no data point at that point in time. So if you look at this, those that have solid blue lines horizontally, that basically means that with the target, there was a problem, because all of the probes, all of these guys, none of them could actually reach the IPv6 site because there were no Quad A records. The green lines means everything is fine. Now, if you have like the red spots, like in this case, that basically means that our vantage point here could not get the data over IPv6. And that basically means that probably that vantage point had a problem, or there was a network problem close to that vantage point. Right? So you see that occasionally that happens. Here you see that we did have Quad A records for this target, but we were still unable to get HTTP data over IPv6.
Do you want the video?
We could do that.
Okay. Okay. So the video is linked on the web for those people who are watching the web stream. In the program, there's next to RIPE's autonomous system number, there's a link called Demo 1 and a link called Demo 2. This one is Demo 1.
Okay, so what you see here is like from 4 June, you can see that we jumped like 5 minutes or 15 minutes at a time. And you can see that there are still a lot of blue lines here. And when we get to the 6th of June, you will see that some of them disappear and the thing becomes green. You can see this, we have no data at all for a little while here. I think that turns out better later. Occasionally you see these red dots coming up. That just means that there's an incidental problem that we couldn't get the data. But often they turn green again and then everything is fine. We're getting closer to, we're still in the morning of the 5th of June. But you see that things do change. You see some blue points coming up here and there. That means that the Quad A records got distracted. See that we are getting more green now, that we're getting closer to the 6th of June. So we get more green lines. And there we go to the 6th of June. It's getting better and better. So we're now in the morning of the 6th of June, and you see that there's still these, I believe, will never. You saw them on the previous chart, which was done on a couple of days after the event, even. And so it will be interesting when we get to the end of the 6th of June, whether some turn blue again. I don't recall actually whether they do. The intent was that they would leave it on. But some may have understood it was the same thing like last year, where at midnight everything would be turned off. But it stays pretty green still, as it should be. Here we go. Okay, it's not too bad. I think I saw one blue coming back, and then they think again and make it, enable it again. So, that's may have to do with their DNS configurations that they thought, just do it for one day and then saw that they went offline and needed to do the other day. I think we can keep looking at, but we're now somewhere towards the afternoon of June 7th, so I think we've seen this.
Press escape. And then from the bottom, go to the adult, that one, yeah. No, click it. And Control L.
Control L. All these keys.
There we go.
Alrighty. So then another analysis, I think this one was done by, so the previous one was basically done by René Wilhelm. This one was done by Emil. So we looked at the relative performance of IPv4 versus IPv6 for 15-minute intervals. And then what he found was, you see these pointers on the slides. The slides are available online, I think also, right? These pointers to the slides are the articles that actually describe the whole analysis and how we did it and all that. What we see is that IPv4 is just a little bit faster than IPv6. So we did another graph where we look, we divide it in two bins, one where the RTT is bigger than 50 milliseconds and one where the RTT is less or equal than 50 milliseconds. I'm not sure which one is equal, but anyway. And we can see that the one that's bigger than 50 milliseconds is more equal on both sides than the one with the bigger RTT. I guess the one with the bigger RTT, there is probably real problems in the implementation or such, because then, what was it? The other way around. The one with the smaller than the green one, 50 milliseconds. That is where the if it's a very short time and it's still better in IPv4. Then it's probably the implementation of IPv6 or the way it's routed or whatever that makes it take a little longer, as opposed to just if you have fast response times. I guess that the optics are the same speed for IPv6 and IPv4. Anyways, you can read more on this measurement on that webpage there. The other thing we did is we looked at the event that we had last year here on the 6th of June. Which was a World IPv6 Day. So the agreement that all the content providers had, like Google and so on, was that they would turn it on at 0 o'clock in the morning and turn it off again at midnight. And last year we saw that a lot of people did that. So you can see clearly that we had a lot of IPv6 enabled websites and it went down. It stayed up a little bit, so some people decided things worked fine and they kept it alive on IPv6, but many turned it off. This year, on the 6th of June, the idea was that you turn it on and leave it on. And as you can see, that actually did happen. The other thing that we see is that after that day, it actually grows a little. So this is maybe not long enough yet to make a conclusion, but it seems like it's actually growing a little bit compared to here where it stayed basically flat. Okay. This is a different topic. So those were the measurements that we have normally done. I don't know how many of you are familiar with our Atlas project, but the Atlas project is a project where we have these types of devices. You plug them in a USB port for power, or in a USB power outlet, and on the other side you plug in the Ethernet cable, and it has an embedded operating system and does measurements to a number of defined points that we know about. It can do them over IPv4, it can do them over IPv6. We do trace, we do ping, we do trace route, we do HTTP kind of things on these. And now we have also user-defined measurements that you can do on these probes. In principle, many people can get them. We have about 17,000 active and online these days. 1,700, I should say, not 17,000. That would be nice. That's a goal, but we don't have it yet. 1,700, we have over 2,000 distributed. This is a sample that you can look at. I have a few with me. If people that don't have one are interested, then we can take a look at that, if you can get one. So anyways, we used this infrastructure to do some measurements. So what we did, before the V6 launch day, we had a user-defined measurement tool that would check. You could specify an IP address, and it would check from, I believe we have something like 500 or 600 or so Atlas probes that are IPv6 capable. and they would try to get to your IPv6 address. And so with that data, you can actually see, how well your website is accessible over IPv6 before you start to announce this, that, and all that. So it uses these RIPE Atlas probes that are, again, more densely represented in the RIPE region, but we actually do have them all around the world. It was offered only to the RIPE NCC members. So if you're a RIPE NCC member, you could go to a page and say, I want to take part in this measurement, and then we would do that for you. And possibly, we have a few sponsors that sponsor like hundreds of probes or something like that, and they could talk to us and we could make it available for them. And if you have a very interesting case, we are willing to talk about this. We plan to continue to offer this tool so that, if you want to know how well your website is reachable, you can actually do that. And then Emil again had made a prototype, so what you're going to see is just a prototype visualization of the data that was collected. And it looks like this. It's difficult to see at the moment. I have a website that you could go and look at it live, but it's very long and all numbers and digits and blah blah, so that's not going to work. Anyway, what it does, these are all probes on the end, and they go through certain AS numbers to get to your target. This is the target that you have specified. And so if it is green, then you can actually get to the target. If it is orange, there's a few oranges in here. That means that some probes can get through, but others cannot get through. But the green ASs means that they let all the probes that go through that AS, they let them through. This is the graph for those that are not successful. So again, you can see that some are red and many are orange because they still have some probes that can get through, and maybe there is one, but it's not very visible from over there, I think, that cannot reach the destination at all. Now the nice thing once you have this graph is that you can go and go to one of these ASs, you click on it with the right mouse and you get the information on this is the AS number, this is the LIR that goes with it, and you can actually show traces that go through that path. Here's another example for the 624. And here I have an example where I have clicked on show the traces, and so you get trace routes of, and you can scroll through the whole list here. So you can actually, when you find that there is an issue or a problem, you can actually go in and look to the details of the trace routes as to what is happening and what is causing the problem. So this is, that's why I say, so if you're in the presentation, you can actually go to that link, and then you get the slides that I just showed, and you can look at some of the details. So this is the website that you go to if you want to measure it for yourself. There may be, if you all go at the same time, there may be a little bit of a delay because we schedule them so much apart so as to not to overload the probes that are around in our network to do all similar types of. And if you're not part of an LIR and you want to work on this, then you can talk to us and we'll see if we can arrange something for you. More information on the things that I talked about. This is the IPv6 launch article on RIPE Labs. So actually the handouts say that I am employed by RIPE Labs, but I'm employed by RIPE NCC. And Labs is just a sort of a workspace where people can report interesting analysis they have done or interesting questions and such and discuss them. This is the website that has all the figures that I showed you about the statistics for IPv6 launch day, and there are a few others. The raw data that we have on IPv6 launch day, so these 18 million measurements that we did, are available. So you go to this website and you can download the data set and then do your own analysis if you think there's other things that you would like to try to extract from that data. You have to register and tell us what you're going to do with the data. And there's a few rules you have to apply to, like we don't want you to take our data, massage it a little bit and then sell it to someone else. But other than that, I think we're pretty flexible in what you can do with it. our conclusions is that we think that IPv6 works just fine. If you have dual stack, we made that same claim last year with IPv6 Day, is that if you had a smart application, you could actually look and try to measure, if you have a better performance over IPv6 than over IPv4. We saw in that one slide that sometimes IPv6 is faster for some people, and for other people it's not. You could then choose to use one or the other protocol as long as that's available. Most sites, as we saw, the green lines is that kept it all enabled, IPv6, and that was indeed the intent of this IPv6 launch. So stay online on v6 for always. Some sites did not enable it at all, even though they had registered with in the Internet Society, announcing that they would actually go online. The trace route visualizations, as I said before, send us your feedback if you have any, or if you have questions. And if you want more information, see the title page for our email addresses, and you can contact us. I think with that I get to the questions. There is a question.
Yes. I had two videos for you. What's the other video for your lightning talk?
All our videos, I believe, for the lightning talk. It's on the IPv6 rightness, I think.
Okay, so I'll move it in the program to the right.
Yeah, okay, but that's it.
Any other questions?
Yes, one. If you go back to the previous slide, some sites do enable IPv6, but they said that they would.
Yes.
Do you have any feedback afterwards why they didn't go for it?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, the question was that I show here on this slide that some sites did not enable IPv6 during the event, even though they had promised to do so or registered with Internet Society that they would do so. Do we have any feedback? I have not heard the feedback yet. I do remember that I asked that to the Internet Society people who kept track of the people that wanted to participate. They said they were going to look at that, but I haven't heard a response yet. I can bring forward that question once more, like, I gave this presentation and I hear the question, so it would be interesting to hear why that is. So the possibility is that these, but now I'm just, freewheeling here because I have no proof of that. The possibility is that they might just want to, advertise themselves like, hey, we want to participate in the new stuff. I'm not sure how good a promotion that is, but that could be a possibility. That could have come technical issues, I don't know, but we don't know at the moment. Did I see another hand raised over there? I did not. So, thank you.